but I want to come home, and I have no ambitions outside of that. I mean, everybody says, so are you going to look for senator? You're going to do it? No. I want to come home, and the only crowd I'm going to be around for a while is going to be the cows. When I run them into the corral, and I'm going to give them shots as they come by. And I don't have to worry about somebody taking me and getting a sound bite out of it. So anyways, that's the main reason. That's the main reason why. And there's a couple others, but that's the main one. What else do we have? This is a super easy crowd.
What's your first item of business? What's the first thing you want to tackle?
Closing. Yeah, so anyway.
Good start.
You know, the national health care is a huge item. Regulation, any burden on the small business on this economy. I don't know how the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, either one, can sit around and talk about getting this economy back on track when we're having to deal with this. And I've said this before, this didn't start with this administration. I mean, underneath the Bush administration, whether we like it or not, there was 10,200 regs passed. Under this current, or 600 regs passed, 10,600 plus regs passed. Under this current administration, there's been 10,200 regs passed plus. Now, granted, half the amount of time, but it's not just a Democrat or Republican fault. It's politicians' fault. It's ones making decisions based on keeping them there. It's ones that are continue passing the buck down the road. It's not a Democrat or Republican issue, but we have to loosen the noose that's around our neck. We got to get, as a senator said on the floor not too long ago, that the boot's got to be taken off our neck. And national health care, guys, Oklahoma better wake up and pay attention to that one. 90% of our small business, or of our economy, is driven by small businesses. 90%. Roughly 13 to 14% of those are employees or businesses that have over 50 employees. Yet that's the highest rate of businesses going out of business is the ones over 50 because they're exposed the most. Who's going to replace those? Because as you're growing, and I was getting to 49 employees, if I knew that next employee I hired was going to cost me $2,000 plus everybody else, so I was all of a sudden going to come up with a new $100,000 tax bill, there is no way I would have ever made that jump. There's no way. I couldn't even spell $100,000, much think I would have it to give away at the end of the year because I hired one extra employee. And then you got to think, where's the cutoff? For those companies that are set with 63 employees, where's the cutoff? I mean, they're looking at $126,000 that they're going to have to pay. Are they going to keep those 13 employees? Is it at 75? That's the biggest threat facing Oklahoma right now, and it's the biggest thing that's going to affect our economy is that of national health care. We're going to be facing, at Mullin Plumbing and our other companies, $250,000. $250,000 is what we're going to have to pay and a new tax. That is priority number one. How are we going to work with that? How are we going to rein it in? How are we going to take it off the backs of small businesses? How is a state? How can I help the state fight that? Once we do that, then we've got to start looking at regulations all across the board. These agencies, I mean, the Department of Education, Department of Energy. We got to start paying attention to the EPA and to OSHA. You can't talk about the economy. You can't even talk about the budget. The only thing they're talking about with the budget is they're saying that they're going to have to look at the national defense. But our regulatory agencies and our government agencies, we're spending more of them than we're on our national defense, and nobody's talking about them. Well, I take that back. Dr. Coburn is, and he's just getting shoot off the floor. Shoot, go away. They're not even paying attention to it. That's got to be priority number one.
didn't know him that well. But somehow, the term Obamacare come up. He said, I'll tell you what, he's gonna be one of those Obama no care. He said, it's gonna wind up, nobody's getting decent care. This program is done. He said, nobody gets it. And I believe that's probably what's gonna happen. But apparently there'd be not much incentive for doctors to do much either.
Well, I read a report the other day. Right now, they're expecting when this thing comes in 2014, that we're going to have a shortfall of somewhere around 67,000 doctors. And in 3 years, they're expecting that to be somewhere around 100 to 113,000 doctor shortage. And they said the chances of you finding a family physician is going to be slim to none. Basically, if you don't have one right now, and he's not young, chances of you having one or continuing to keep him is slim to zero. My uncle, who's been a pediatrician for about almost 30 years in Grove, just shut down his practice. He said there's no way. He said I can't afford to take Medicare and Medicaid. I can't afford to take Sooner Care. And the paperwork that I'm having to throw out constantly is running me out of business. I can make more being an ER doctor, so that's what he's doing. It's sad. But you have people that are making decisions not just based on their career, but based on their fundamental belief of what they believe this country should look like. And it's 100% a social agenda. They're basing it on countries that they feel like that the ruling power knows best, and that the American people can't take care of ourselves. Have they read our history? Did they not read the books that I read? I mean, don't you? Isn't that sometimes you just say, "What are you saying?" It's the American people that built it. It's the American people that had the vision and the foundation and the sweat and the tears and the blood to put us to this point. But yet they know best, and it's honestly speaks volumes to the vast difference between the Democrat and the Republican Party right now. I truly believe that the Democrat Party has a true vision and a true direction for this country. Does anybody here doubt that? They've been working this way for a while. What I feel like is missing, though, is what is the Republicans' plan? What is our 5-year and 10-year and 15-year and 20-year goal? I mean, we know what they said. Look, this president told us exactly what he was going to do. He told us what he was going to do. How many presidents have actually done what they told us they were going to do? Don't underestimate this guy or this administration. They said it, and they're doing it. Give them credit for that. It's because they had a vision and a direction, and every time they had a bump in the road, they didn't go off a different direction. They just slowed down. Waited till they could kick it back up to 65 miles an hour and took off down the road again. And I think that's what's lacking from our leadership right now, is not just a reaction, not just defending, but being proactive with a vision and a direction and know why we're fighting each day and what our vision is, what we want this country to be back to. It's one thing to say, I want it to be like the Constitution. We need to go back to the Constitution. Go to any kid in school right now and tell him that and look at the blank face that goes on it. That doesn't mean anything. The Constitution means a lot for those that understand it. And those that understand the Constitution understands what that means. But we have to be able to communicate what that vision is and why. If we really want to get people involved, then we got to articulate what it is we're trying to get to. Not just paint a brush on it and think everybody's going to understand. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about with that. The absolute hardest thing that I ever had to overcome in business was being able to communicate what's in my head. It's one thing to say I'm a micromanager, but the reason why so many people are micromanagers is because they can't communicate the idea in their head to make it make sense to the person who's standing to them and why they should be doing it this way. Are you following me? I had to overcome that and start figuring out how to communicate. And that's what the Republican Party has to start doing to the American people. We have to start communicating why it is that we are constitutionally bound, why it is that we believe in the Constitution, and why that's our guideline, and why the country has been successful by following that blueprint that's laid in front of us. And what the future can look like. That's going to be part of your all's problems too. That's going to be part of your responsibility. Well, explain it. It's our responsibility to lead the charge. To make sure we're in front of the cameras for hiding. Yes, sir.
Here a while back, President Obama said that if you own a business, you didn't build it. Somebody else did that for you.
He was with me every time at 2 o'clock in the morning digging that sewer line.
Sarah Palin's daughter, Bristol, took off of that and started a I Built This campaign. I've been kind of monitoring that. I've been waiting for a picture of your company on that.
We cut it last, what day was that, Trevor? We did that Thursday or Tuesday?
I think it's Tuesday.
Huh?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. There you go, Tuesday. We got one.
I was just wondering if you were planning or if you even knew about the campaign.
Yeah, we.
And what is your opinion on what he said about that? I pretty much figured out.
I agree with everything he said. I mean, he was right there beside me. He was there every time. I mean, when we couldn't pay payroll, he was the one writing the check to make sure we could cover it. I mean, it's the most absurd thing, but it shows his idea and his true belief. It shows that he truly believes that a person cannot stand alone. It shows that he truly believes that we're not smart enough to carry our own toilet paper into our house. Right? It shows the fundamental difference between him and his administration and the people that are fed up. If that didn't wake you up, how many more sound bites? And it's not a sound bite. I was listening to it. I was driving down the road and I was listening to it on, I don't know, it may have been Portis, it may have been CNBC. I don't know what I was listening to, but I was listening to something. I was listening to him speak, and it's funny because most of the time I can't even stand to hear his voice. But he said something, and it caught my attention. I started listening to it, and I was like, I almost pulled over. I mean, I was thinking, what is arrogant? And then I thought, no, he's not. It's what he believes. And that goes back to the whole part of communicating our message, being clear and understanding, and making sure people arguing for history being taught back in schools. How did it get taken out? Understanding why we have a Christian belief. I mean, did people forget when he got elected, he stood up and said, we're no longer a Christian nation? Have you guys forgot that? How many of you guys have never heard that before? There isn't anybody here that admit it, but I guarantee there's people in here that had heard that before. The church should have rose up screaming so loud at that point. The hair on the back of your neck and everybody else should have just went just like a dog that just backed into a corner. And when he said that, I got the same feeling the first time I heard that. It didn't make me sick to my stomach. It didn't make me go, oh, you're kidding me. It made me go, this is why I'm doing it. He just gave me 6 shots of coffee and a Red Bull all at once. I mean, that's what he did. And I'm glad.